Hello, everyone, and welcome to PvP Live, the podcast, episode number 5. I am your host, Jason, joined by PvP Live bloggers Danny, Davis, Tobias, and a very special guest, one of our pro team members and a member of a team going to BlizzCon, Novoz. How the heck are you guys doing today?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing excellent. Everything's going really well. I think we got some exciting news today, and about BlizzCon. I'm going to BlizzCon. Danny's going to BlizzCon. Novoz is going to BlizzCon. Davis and Tobias. You guys live in the UK, so just forget about
Germany. No insults here.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's like the second time you've said that.
Yeah, I have. Oh my god. I apologize.
But I look so British. It's like
it's just the American mindset. It's just all of Europe is just
all of Europe is the UK.
Iraq, all the same, is it? You know that South Park quote?
Yeah.
Like everyone in America is from the South, like Texas.
Danny, starting with you, what have you been up to? What's new in your life? What's been going on in World of Warcraft? What's going on?
Not a whole lot really new actually. Just day to day, just found out that we're gonna be going possibly. I'm not sure yet, 100%, but going to BlizzCon, doing our thing there. And as far as WoW goes, I've been doing a lot of RBGs, trying to get a really high cap. So that's pretty much it where I'm at today.
Excellent. Tobias, how about yourself? What have you been up to? Playing a lot of Hearthstone or what?
Yes, I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone. I played in a tournament today and I got crushed pretty badly. I chose a Paladin deck and played against mages, and it's like the hard counter for my deck. And so there were 4 mages in the tournament, and I think something like 36 people participating. And the first 3 matches I got mage, and so I went 0-3. And then I won the next one and lost really close the last match. So have to step up my game in Hearthstone too. And regarding WoW, I didn't play too much. I kept my jars, but I wasn't too active in WoW at all at the moment. Mostly capping, doing a bit of RPGs, but I'm turning a bit into a casual. What WoW is about. So let's wait and see.
That's exciting. Davis, how about yourself? How's that combat rogue spec going for your comps lately?
Wow, really? So, not playing combat aside.
Oh, my bad. My mistake.
It's been alright. It's been a good week. Managed to get my cap up a little bit higher. Been playing 5s, been playing RPGs too. It's been a pretty good week.
Excellent. Novoz, Kyle, the last time we talked to you was pretty much on our first episode of the podcast. What's been going on? What's been going on with practicing for BlizzCon, getting your team ready, anything?
Well, lots of practice. We try to play like every day. Other than that, it's just we both have gotten, me and Michael have a lot of schoolwork. So, that's been kind of time consuming, but either way, it's been a lot of practice, a lot of, other things.
A lot of preparing, I would imagine. That's coming up. That's in almost in exactly a month, almost. A month and a couple days, we're going to be getting on the BlizzCon train. So that's a lot to take in, I'm sure, especially competing there. So that'll be exciting. Yeah. Actually,
now, how's it going to work this year? Is it going to be any different from previous years? Is there still going to be like a round robin part? Or
nothing has officially been told to us about that, but I'm going to assume it's round robin. There's no reason to think anything else. I think players generally liked it like that. No one really liked the double elimination from back in Round Lich King when I last played at BlizzCon. And players often complained about bad bracket and stuff. I think ever since they changed it round robin, everyone's been pretty happy with that. So I can only assume that they're sticking with it.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, especially since the patch has changed since TR and some comps are not as viable, some are more viable. I think it's a good thing to do it that way.
Yeah, of course.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for the people that don't know, how many actual teams are going to be competing at BlizzCon this year?
8 teams. 2 from Europe, 2 from the U.S. realms, 2 from China, one from Korea, and one from Taiwan. I think Korea and Taiwan have less because they have significantly lower player pools than we do.
Wow. But the Korean teams were actually pretty strong, so they got down to only one team.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree. The Korean teams are always generally pretty strong, but they really don't have as many players in general, right? Like if you count up I guess it's kind of split up by population of WoW rather than strength of players.
Okay.
And yeah, that's why China has two, right? China has never really placed very well, but they have a huge WoW population over there.
Yeah, that's true. Still, I think actually China, did they participate once or twice? I only remember they were in Shanghai, but were they also playing? Oh, come on! A fly is running around my webcam and it's going over the land, so there's a shadow moving over. Serious, like? Okay.
I don't know. I think it was there was definitely none in 2010 when I went. In 2011, I want to say there wasn't, but there might have been. I can't remember in 2011.
Actually, it's I think we're all pretty big Twitch watchers. We keep up pretty heavily on the PvP scene on streams, and Tobias loves that fly. And I think
we have to name it. Any suggestions what we should name the fly?
We Junior.
Stream chat.
We Junior.
Why is it named after me?
We could. No. Should we name it Train Deadly maybe, or I don't know?
Give it a real vicious name.
Well, it's not a rat, so we can't.
Yeah, it's not a rat. But
oh, jeez!
Brain
Wow.
Deadly a rat?
Not Palinka.
Oh boy! All right. Well, actually, I'm glad we're talking about all this right now, and I'm glad Novoz is actually with us because I don't know if he actually, we hate to start drama or anything like that, but we were digging through some of the VODs on Twitch, and we were watching some of the streams, and Novoz, I want to see your opinion on this. I'm guessing you probably haven't seen this, but this is Snuts and Venruki and Soda talking a little bit about your team going to BlizzCon. So I'm just going to play a VOD here real quick.
RMP.
Now this is something fun to play,
Yeah, I actually understand this matchup. This is so stupid. I hope they lose BlizzCon. If they win BlizzCon, I'm so mad.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking retarded if they win.
Can they win?
I don't know.
Is that crop top here?
So now that was a real quick short clip of Snuts, Ven, and Soda speaking on stream about your comp going to BlizzCon. Novoz, have you seen this, or I don't? What are your thoughts on this video about them talking about this?
Yeah, I've seen that live actually. Like, it was right after they fought us. I mean, I don't know what to think of it. Like, I'm pretty sure they weren't very happy about losing those matches. So there is probably a heat of the moment thing, but
right.
And it's also pretty obvious that they didn't want, or that they would prefer Soda's team to win because they're good friends with them. I don't know if they specifically dislike us. I'm gonna hope not, but I'm
guessing it's just the competition surrounding the WoW community and BlizzCon in general. I'm sure there's not any majorly ill feelings towards you, Thug, or Danny Carey, but it's.
I feel like somewhere there is. We've got some. I mean, sometimes we got some. It depends on whose chat you're in, and Twitch. They either love us or hate us. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you just get like everyone just down talks us whenever the word BlizzCon's brought up, and other times people like love. In particular, Danny Carey. Actually, I don't mean to single him out, but they either love the fact that a monk's going or hate, or like people still believe the like bullshit rumors that have been spread around.
Yeah, what's funny is too, Nov, is that these rumors seem to keep on coming up about the orb botting that Danny Carey does. It seems like it just hasn't gone away yet, even though that Danny has posted basically numerous videos of him in competition as well as yourself. But it still seems that people are still kind of bringing this up. Just to break you guys down, or what do you think the
I
reason
don't know. I
behind
mean,
that is?
it's completely like ridiculous at this point. I mean, I guess it's not brought up as much as it was before. People just haven't got the memo that it's not true at all. They just believe stuff and never stop believing it. He plays with absolutely zero add-ons now. At one point, he did play with a lot of add-ons, but he actually plays at completely top level, just like he did before, without any add-ons at all. So I'm completely impressed by that. He adapted very quickly. There like there's no reason to think he's a bad player, or there's no reason to think he's cheating or is carried by add-ons in any way, shape, or form at this point.
Now, I want to just kind of get in here for a second, and I mean, I kind of think that if this were just normal ladder play, there was nothing at stake, there was no prize or competition, that maybe a lot of this drama and competitiveness wouldn't be going on, at least in as big as it is now. Do you think that it just has? I think it has something to do with, he's the first Mistweaver monk that's going to be competing at a high level, and maybe other people haven't seemed to figure the class out or figure out how to counter them or how to play against them at a high level. So, I mean, to me it just seems to be just the heat of competition, and obviously Soda's practicing hard and he's getting ready to go as well. So, I mean, it's just the hype is building, I think.
Yeah, I also think it's something to do with the fact that Monk is virtually the only class I could think of that you could accuse someone for hacking. Like, that it doesn't apply to anything else, and it just kind of shows, like, if there is a way people can accuse you of anything, they'll take it, I guess. I mean, you can't really accuse other classes of cheating like that in the same way.
I actually think that's a lot of psychology because the smack talk prior to the matches, prior to the tournaments is really big and it affects players. I don't know, it doesn't affect everyone, but it definitely affects players and they get rage and you spend time on it and you think about it. And so this could just be some kind of method to screw your concentration, to screw your preparation.
I don't know if it
Azael
was
is known
that.
for doing stuff like that earlier and prior in tournaments.
I actually think they didn't realize they were streaming, or I don't think.
No, in general, I mean, I heard
When they
there's
said
a lot
that.
of drama. If I look at your armory, you also stepped out of the guild you were in with Soda. Is
Oh,
this
that
also
that
related?
that was because Talbot already ranked us, so we just made our own guild. Like,
Okay.
he deranked us on some completely unrelated thing. It's not because he trying to keep us down. He just, I don't know. I think we're kind of abusing our powers one day. I'm not going to go into
Okay.
it.
Yeah, but so just to stay on it, I mean, if Tabata demotes you, don't you think it's a kind of this smack talk game like we had this with boxing matches and stuff like that? It's
I'm
pretty
not,
obvious, in my
I think
opinion.
the demoting has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I think that happened a long time ago before.
Well, that happened right after TR.
Okay.
I think it was during the war game week. I know that
Gotcha.
much, but that doesn't matter. And we created our own guild, which has since been renamed by Blizzard.
I mean, all that aside, I don't
Yeah.
want us to drill Novoz here and put him on the spot, and he's got a lot to worry about. So, I mean, the hype is building, the competition is there, it's heating up. It's going to be a great BlizzCon, I think. But what do we know about European teams? I mean,
Is that directed at me, like, or
anybody?
You, me, whoever.
I mean, Poke has been saying on stream today, in the last days, that he has been farming Volta's team for quite some time. And yeah, it seems if you watch both teams, and Poke's team looks a bit stronger, but the Shadow Cleave actually seems pretty strong. That Volta's playing, they have so much damage. It's incredible how much damage
Yeah,
is coming out. I don't know how viable the comp actually is, but just raw damage numbers wise, it's insane.
that actually makes a lot of sense to me, actually. LSD looks like a really strong comp, and I couldn't understand why they were playing Shadowcleave. I mean, Shadowcleave's good, but I think LSD is probably a better comp, at least tournament-wise. Like, they played it before, it seemed illogical to, like, trade comp in potentially downgrading. If anything, it can't be much better than LSD. So they probably, if they did get beat by that team, the God comp team, then it makes a lot more sense. So they're trying to figure out something to beat them. I wouldn't doubt that they would play LSD for a lot of the tournament anyway. Like, they have a really good win rate as their LSD. I was looking at that. So as far as European teams go, I guess if it is true that they Minpoik's team beat Luxac's team a lot, then that probably means that they can beat Talbodar's team too. So they're looking like pretty good right now. But it's hard to say as well because there's a lot more gear to come out and things are going to be different out of tournament. So we'll see.
Nov, actually, in preparation for BlizzCon, as we all know, or maybe you don't know, you're not allowed to use any add-ons, right? That's zero add-ons, no add-ons whatsoever. And I don't think you yourself actually use many add-ons at all. But I mean, have you guys toned that down? All of you. I mean, Thug, Danny Carey, yourself. Have you guys cut out pretty much all your add-ons, Gladius, everything? In preparation?
The day we qualified was also the day that we turned off everything, and we kind of built our UIs from scripts. It's not much change with mine or Thug's. I think Danny Carey moved a lot of stuff around from default, but overall, there's guidelines that they give you, and we followed them all.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really big in scripts that we have, so it's really pretty much default UI. I know that a lot of players still, from what I've seen on stream, I think Minpoik as well is playing with add-ons. Not a lot, just like interrupt bar, but those kind of things can add up. I don't know if or when he's planning on turning it off before the event, but it could impact him. I don't know if all the other teams are doing the same thing. I know Talbodar still keeps a certain amount of add-ons on.
He has a lot of add-ons on, from what it looks like.
There's up until, I'm not sure when it was. I remember watching a stream and he kept everything on for like at least a few weeks after TR, but then I guess he turned a handful of them off. If he has his default frames, that's probably what he's playing with till Blizzcon.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely still has interrupt bar on, and that's the big one. People really can't seem to live without it. That was the one that I have to get used to playing without. That's the only one that I really had and used.
Yeah, it seems like oh, good.
I had one that tracked larger cooldowns, and that's probably harder. Or I mean, that's pretty hard to lose too, but it's not such a big deal.
So I mean, overall, do you think it's hard for you as a team to get used to playing with no add-ons? Because I mean, that's a huge deal in World of Warcraft PvP.
I don't know. I mean, the reason I don't know is, the patch changed and we had already turned off all our add-ons. So when the patch changed, I don't know if any increase or decrease in success was due to the patch or due to the add-ons loss. That's a really hard thing to decide because we obviously our comp changed, and honestly the entire game, the meta game changes every single week as gear increases. I can tell you there's been an enormous difference, an unbelievable difference from before and after weapons. We timed out 15% of our games and struggled a lot more than the week after, where we never timed out a single game since, and we haven't lost to almost any teams since we got weapons. Granted, since we've got weapons, we haven't played as many games as we did before. But we still haven't lost that many games at all.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I think that summed it up.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to say that's a perfect transition because moving on from BlizzCon, one of the topics we wanted to talk about is, PvP balance in the past, couple of weeks and the impact of weapons, basically, that, most people are getting this past week. So, basically, just start, Davis. I haven't heard from you here that much today. Davis, what do you think about PvP balance as a whole right now and the impact from the weapons from the last week or so?
I would agree that since the weapons, loads has changed. Rogue damage has got way more crazy. All melee classes even.
Right.
Just their damage has got more crazy. I feel it's specifically more noticeable with rogues and DKs. I mean, warriors we kind of always knew did millions and millions of damage, and they still continue to. But there's a lot that's changed about that. And I think, I don't know, but I think melee cleaves are becoming a bit more popular this week, while the weapons have come out. But I think in a few weeks, there'll be more casters about again. I think this week, quite a lot of casters will lose a few games, just because the enemy team has weapons or whatever. But the most annoying thing at the moment is I don't want to play my alts that don't have weapons already. So
I agree. I can't play my mage gets weapon next week, and I played it the week before and got to 2300. By the way, I played Mage for the first time since like 2 seasons ago, and I got like 2300 relatively easily. Like the week before weapons, and that was pretty good. But again, I wasn't like playing my best because I'm new to it. But then this week, I just can't even play it. Like if you fight people with weapons, you're such an enormous disadvantage.
No,
Not even fun.
are you playing Frost?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just an alt though. It's like Frost mages, I think, are the best caster by far. Like, not even close.
Really?
I think, like, yeah, not even close. They're so good right now. So I think I just was playing it for fun. It's really actually a lot of fun. But
So do you think actually? Sorry to get off topic, but what we have you here talking about an alt right now. Do you think the hotfix patches from last week with the 10% damage buff to Frost mages? Do you think that was a big turning point, or that was major?
I think that was an enormous thing, no doubt. Like 20, you can't ignore a 20% thing.
Right.
I think almost all the classes affected by those changes, you've noticed an impact on. Enhanced Shamans climbed really quickly after that, and same with Frost mages. I don't know if it was just that. Like, the gear increases probably made mages better as well.
I mean, you could see it like almost the next day after those hot fixes went in. You look at the ladder, you start seeing a lot more mage representation when the week before everyone was complaining that they didn't do anything. So yeah, I definitely think it helped.
Just a little bit of going on about or continuing about predictions for what the gear is going to be like. I think first of all, rogues are undeniably going to be way better. Like, I don't think there's anything about getting better gear that's going to make them worse. I think mages are going to as well, like, come out on top in all this. I think it's hard to say that melee in particular are benefiting from the weapons too, because I think my comp benefited somehow. Like, Ellie felt crappy before the weapons to pretty good. Like, I can't really complain how they feel right now. Like, they're actually pretty good. So it's really hard to say who's going to come out on top with like the gear increase. But my one prediction is that warriors get worse only because if the damage goes high enough, they're going to have to play more defensive and have to run away a lot more. So I'm just hoping that way. I don't actually like warriors very much, but maybe we'll see. I might be completely wrong and they're just going to be overlords and no one can beat them. We'll see though.
Yeah, I don't think anyone that doesn't play a warrior likes a warrior. Tobias, how about yourself? As far as PvP balance right now after the hot fixes and people actually getting weapons now, what have you seen this past week?
I actually have been playing without weapons so far because I'm 1 week behind in points. And so it's pretty hard for me to come, but what I've heard from pretty much everyone is that rogue damage is higher. People are considering switching to crit, which is better for sustained damage, but not as good for burst compared to mastery. And so there's a lot of discussion going on amongst rogues. And yeah, I'm still considering going combat actually, because I have little time and combat is, I don't know, I can't really decide between sub and combat because I think combat has much more play than people give credit for. I don't know. I think rogues, warriors, and enhancement shaman maybe simply because of the fact enhancement shaman brings so much to the table, and I think they will stay one of the best melees. Windwalker monks are probably weak, but after watching my guild play against Vinruki, Assail, and Doomson, and they beat them as monk, warlock, and Restoshim. And so good monks will still compete too, but I think Windwalker monks could probably need a buff at this point. Shadow priests, Virant made an interesting post about it, also are in my opinion in need of buffs. They are probably the two weakest classes, and I think Mistweaver monks are a class that is extremely skill dependent. Means the difference between good Windwalker monk and between Danny carry is incredible. So there's just there's a higher skill cap for this class probably than most healers because of all this aiming, because of all the crown based effects and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to judge because the monk gameplay is so dependent on the player, even on high levels. if I watch Sidu or Minpoke play, they played well, but they just don't play it on the level that Danny Carey has, in my opinion.
I'm glad that I'm glad you brought up Shadow Priest, because that's a topic we're going to cover in a little bit, about them being underpowered. Danny, I just wanted to touch with you real quick. Did you have any comments on playing your Warlock? Did you get your weapon this week, or what's going on?
Yeah, well, I didn't. I really wasn't too active in the first week of Arena, so I didn't. I don't even think I fully capped my points that week. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I won't get my weapon until next week, and just with doing the RBGs and stuff that I have been, it's like going up against other Warlocks that have it, or playing on teams, and people are like, why is your damage so low? It's like, well, I don't have my weapon this week, so it's kind of been a hindrance, I guess you could say, but it's you could definitely see it in the numbers and just in damage overall that the weapons help a ton.
Well, I think that's pretty much how it is every season. It's a given, right?
Well, yeah, but especially now, I think too, because we've never seen in the beginning of a season resilience go up so much from the last season.
Yeah.
Last season, actually, the weapons didn't even increase. Like, they were the same right along.
Yeah.
People kept their tier 2 malevolent weapons all through last season. Like, didn't even buy a tyrannical weapon.
Actually, since we were just talking about Shadow Priest, let's kind of jump right over to them. That's actually one of my mains as well. And Virant wrote an excellent post. If Tobias, maybe you could link it to us in stream chat. But basically, there's a lot of complaints about the damage output from Shadow Priest right now, especially the way that they create orbs, and it's really difficult basically against a lot of comps, especially with warriors. Novoz, I don't think you play Shadow Priest at all, but what are your thoughts on?
Actually.
Oh, you do? Okay. What are your thoughts on Shadow Priest damage right now? Do they need a buff?
Okay. Well, first of all, yeah. Well, my Shadow Priest, I got rank 1 on Shadow Priest 2 seasons ago.
Oh, okay.
It was actually my first season playing it. It was kind of fun. Anyways, but I think that they're probably pretty weak right now. I played a tiny bit this season. I didn't really want to stick to it too much. Didn't really have that much fun on it. But I think they could use buffs right now, but I wouldn't want to jump to conclusions, because on PTR they were actually really, really good in full gear. So they might actually the gear might really put them into a good spot. So I wouldn't jump to conclusions into what they would need until you actually get to that point. Because in full gear, I could see them definitely like getting back to the point where you could solo someone in a silence or something if they get that far. So if they're actually able to do that, there's no reason for buffs in any way. But I definitely agree that at least last week, I haven't seen many this week with the weapons, but at least last week prior to weapons, they weren't in that great of a spot.
Well, it's interesting because you said you're not sure if they need a buff yet. Well, one of the main problems, I think, one of the main complaints from Shadow Priest is with warriors with Spell Reflect, if you get a Mind Blast off, you're not getting that orb. So, do you think that possibly, a 1 to 3 minute cooldown with gaining all 3 orbs at once, would that be beneficial, or is that too powerful?
I think that's a neat concept. That might be too powerful. I don't know. I think the problem is more about warriors than it is about Shadow Priest, though. I think that because it applies to every class. Any class you need to cast can't really do very much against. I know that Thugonomics really hates fighting warriors as a Destro lock. It was especially worse before weapons, like I said. It's just you couldn't. It's so hard to get a 3-second cast off, let alone like a priest building orbs on with Mind Blast every X amount of seconds. Like, they can be interrupted and reflected so easily. I think it's definitely a problem with warriors more than anything else, and rogues, by the way. Warriors can like fuck with you for a very long time and are just outrageously annoying, but rogues don't let you play your character at all. They just don't seem to do as much damage when they're doing it.
Right. Tobias, what are your thoughts on the state of Shadow Priest right now? Just going by Virant's post, and he brought up a bunch of excellent points that could possibly be buffs.
I think the ideas he had are really good. I'm not sure how much the gear is actually of an impact if Ryan tested it. I don't think, just to be sure, the PTR is not updated to the current gear, is it? So if you go into the PTR, you still have the gear from last season, I think.
You mean PTR or you mean TR?
TR, sorry, TR.
TR is
Uh,
currently still last season right now.
Yeah, it's still last season's gear.
Yeah.
Moving on, Davis, what do you think about the, basically the state of Shadow Priest right now? Is from a rogue's perspective, actually.
I don't really know why people are particularly complaining about them being underpowered. I think they do loads of damage. Like, I don't know. I think people are more complaining about their class in comparison to a warrior or something like that.
Right.
And like they are the issue to me, like Novoz said, is the warrior. Like you need to fix the warrior. You don't need to fix other classes to be able to deal with warriors. You need to fix warriors so that other classes can deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
At least a bit better than they can at the moment. But yeah, I think Shadow Priest damage is really good, and I don't know. I think Shadow Priests are difficult though, because if you give them like too many tools and stuff, like if you're talking about that 3-minute cooldown to get 3 orbs, like you could like double DP someone or double, I don't know, what else can you do with orbs? You can disarm, can't you? And
you can fear them. Fear.
It's a horrified disarm, yeah.
I'm sorry,
if you if I think about when I played with a Shadow Priest who would like do a DP, get some lucky procs, and then have another 3 orb pretty ready, and he could throw them into a disarm like really quickly, then that was like they couldn't really do anything to stay alive. So I think if you talk about buffing them too much, then they have so many tools that it can just get out of hand. Like as soon as you talk about making like MD a shorter cast and stuff like that, it all gets a bit too scary, if you ask me. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Well, it seems like Rogue's finally got completely buffed the way that Davis likes, so he just wants to put every other class down, which is fine. Novoz, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say class balance is a really delicate thing that a lot of people don't seem to get. Like on paper, it's like buff this guy, nerf this guy, and you're good, but it's really not. It has to do with like damage and healing ratios altogether. Like you have to play in that environment for a while to really understand. Like we have to play with end of season or full gear for the season for a while to really understand the meta game. And then you can kind of talk about who needs to be buffed or nerfed if you really want to balance it right. Like I know people don't like waiting a month or 2 months to and dealing with being bad if your class does need buffs, but it's really easy to buff someone too much and then have you be overpowered and needing nerfs. Yeah.
Well, then it becomes like a game of like ping pong. Like if you buff somebody before gear and then in gear they're way overpowered, then you got to go back and tune them down. So it's
and class balance is all relative to who else is good. Like if warriors counter you, then you're not going to be as good. And it's like people compare themselves to the best. Like I'm not as good as a frost mage. Make me as good as a frost mage. So like you get this. Everyone wants to be at this level that the first guy's at. So even if you aren't that bad, they still want to be better.
Well, and my take on Shadow Priest in particular is, I don't know. Like they have 2 other specs, priests in general, that are doing really well, Holy and Disc. And, I know not everybody wants to play a healer or, that's not their thing. Like me personally, I'll never be a healer. It's just not what I enjoy doing. But, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just like an old school way of thinking, like kind of one viable spec per class sort of thing. And I don't know. I just think there's not really much to complain about because the gear's not everybody's fully geared yet, and there are 2 other specs you can play and be fairly successful with. So, I don't know.
Yeah, Danny, just like you and Nova said, it's really hard to tell at this early in the season.
Yeah,
people don't have full gear yet. So, I mean, it's really hard to talk about, major buffs or nerfs right now until we actually see later in the season what it'll probably be about.
Well, one thing I do want to add that just kind of came to mind is there seems to be like this like precedents get set for certain classes where one patch they're really strong, then the next patch maybe not so strong. So people, I think a lot of players get used to how they were in this patch, and then when they're slightly less, they're like they feel helpless almost, or a buff to their class could remain exactly the same, but a buff to another class makes them feel so much weaker. So I think, it's just a balancing is just a very, very delicate thing.
Yeah, that's it. I guess I can't really sum it up more. It's hard to tell until we actually get another month into the game where people actually are running full gear. Before we actually run on to the next subject, I just saw that Hotted actually just joined the chat, and I want to put him on blast right now. Alan, do you want to come on the show next week? Answer in chat. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about double blood DKs. I mean, it's getting kind of crazy. They're top 10 on both ladders, and I'm actually going to start out right now with Davis because he actually has a buddy that made a DK, I believe, just to play dual blood Death Knights. So, Davis, why don't you take it away, bud?
Yeah, so all these people were complaining about double blood DKs and the crowd chose you favoring them in 2v2. So my friend's first thought was just how much can I exploit this ridiculousness? So he's already a good player and stuff, he's like Gladiator and stuff. So he's never played a DK before, really. He did a little bit of play in Wrath, I think, but apart from that, so he decided to level a blood DK, make a blood DK just so that he could play double blood DK 2s with his mate, and they got to 2.2 like 2 days after reading 90 or something like that. And their basic tactic was any double DPS they could probably try and kill. But if it was healer DPS, then they just tried to get someone the lowest and waited for the crowd chose you. And they won 49 games and lost 7 games or something and ended up at 2.2.
So I'm guessing pretty much every one of those games almost went to the crowd chooses you.
He did stream for a little bit of it, and there was a lot of, as soon as the other team would see like lowest health gold team or whatever, they would just leave, and
that's it.
And that's it. And there were some other people that I presume just left seeing double blood DK. But as they got higher up, they faced more and more teams and began to do more and more ridiculous stuff. And the most annoying thing for me was being on Skype with them and watching them do it. Is like they were in the arenas like backpedaling and stuff, and they're not like backpedaling players or anything like that, but they were like really into the character of being a blood DK and just genuinely played like in the craziest ways ever, and they were still just stomping teams. Teams
Hero
couldn't
class.
do anything.
Hero class.
Hero class, yeah.
So I'm sure he will link his armory and he made a thread on the forums where he trolled some people and talked about what he'd achieved and stuff like that. But Noxy in chat, this is your shout out. Him and Napalm in chat, they were the two blood DKs.
That's a team, and that's Poop Feast 420. Is that one of them?
That is Noxy. Is
Noxy. He's a real ball buster. I'll tell you what. Anyways, Danny, going to you. I mean, what do you think about the double blood DKs kind of just trolling around?
I don't really spend much time on the 2v2 ladder, so I haven't encountered it much, but I think just the idea of it is so ridiculous. And I mean, I actually used to main a DK and still play it quite often, and it just makes me ashamed to even own the class. Like really, like it's giving DK such a bad reputation, which they already kind of had one. But I don't know. I just think it's not so much about the DKs themselves. It's the fact that how easily they can exploit the crowd shows you buff in 2s. And that's basically what it comes down to.
Tobias, going to you. I mean, what have you experienced any 2v2 double blood Death Knights?
Yes.
Yeah.
And should all burn and suffer and similar things. I hate it. I completely hate it, especially when I play Rogue or even on my Monk. because my damage feels like it's not existing. They seem to sometimes, even if I'm out of cooldown, so Blood Decay just out damages me as tank if I'm playing rogue. And so it's ridiculous to play against. I think if you're a caster, it might be better, but especially if you're a physical damage dealer that relies, or if you play Assassination Rogue or something, I think it's better, but a sub or combat, it's so bad. And yeah, I mean, I can understand it's fun for trolling, but in the end, I think they should nerf it for choose for PvP. And I think everyone except maybe 20 people on Earth will definitely agree with that nerf. One would be one of the most popular nerfs in arena history if you nerf down Blood Decays, I think. Would
And
anyone disagree?
But
But here's the
Anyone?
thing, like how can
anyone?
how can you really like do that? Like how can you
Right.
accomplish nerfing just blood decays and twos? Like it's not about
If
it's not about the
you arena as
DK.
Blood Decay, you die.
Like
Instant
but it's
death.
it's not about
Instant
class.
death.
It's about the
Just
it's
can't
about
select the
buff.
tank spec when
Yeah,
you.
right.
Nah, it's more they're gonna fix or it's rumored that they're going to change the system. The crowd chose you, and I think that's the underlying problem there.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with blood decays. It's just the system, really.
You couldn't play it last patch because they time out and lose rating every game. Like
Yeah.
they win because of the system. That's it. If the system changes, I don't think it'll be a problem anymore. I think 2v2 in general was pretty dull, regardless of blood decays. At least prior to weapon. I know I could live forever in an Elemental Shaman even prior to weapon. Kind of crazy, but now I played a little bit of twos, helping on an alt, helping friends cap their characters, and it didn't go so bad after weapon. I think I might be wrong. I didn't really necessarily play it. I was like 2K or something, wasn't that very high, but it seemed a bit better. Maybe it's gonna get better with gear.
Anyone else? To sum up the double blood DKs. Burn. Wow. Okay, before we move on to the next subject topic, I want to remind
Shots
everyone,
fired.
go to pvp-live.com, bookmark the site, follow us on Twitch here, follow us on Twitter, follow all of us, right there, follow all of us on Twitter, our Twitter names are right below us. Moving on, back to kind of, arena talk, I guess. Double warrior interrupts. I think, Tobias, maybe you brought this up. Double warrior interrupts. I mean, what are your feelings? Tobias, going with you first.
I think 2 interrupts generally is a bad idea. Because it kind of defies the whole idea of juking an interrupt. So you fake cast something and you start casting again, and you can't really know if the warrior is actually specced into the talent. And bam, you eat an interrupt, or you don't. So it's I don't think it's a really good balance thing to have a second interrupt as a talent. I could see it work more as a silence or something. That would be probably it's the R-ing then. But yeah, I think it's just too much to give a melee 2 interrupts. That doesn't work out well.
Well, especially at the speed that they can do it. Danny, what are your thoughts on the dual interrupts?
I'm not so sure that warriors having 2 interrupts is much of the problem. I think it's that on top of everything else they can bring to the table, like the double spell reflex and the stuns and everything. Because I mean, look at Unholy DKs. They have multiple interrupts between grips and their regular mind freeze and transform pet interrupt and range stun. I mean, they have similar tool sets too, but it's just, I don't know. It's something about how it synergizes with the rest of Warriors' play that makes it so strong, I think. And yeah, if we could just, I guess, figure out like what it is that adds everything up, it would be ridiculous. Because I mean, and like mentioning DKs, they are still pretty strong, but I don't think anywhere near as strong as Warriors are. So something's got to be different. Yeah, it could be, as Crywolf in chat said, that it's the mobility, I think. Being able to just stick on you and always
Be
shut
right
you
next
down.
to you, yeah.
Yeah.
Novoz, what are your thoughts on the dual interrupts from warriors?
I don't like it at all. I mean, obviously I'm a caster, but I don't.
Right.
I don't think it's a good thing. But I don't think you can just remove it either. It'd have to be removed like in the next expansion. It's a kind of a too entwined into the game to just cut it out and not have them suffer a lot for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Go ahead. It's blatantly better than the other talents as well. Like, having a snare, AoE snare, and an AoE root is just like completely worse than those. I'd say the problem. I really don't like the spell reflect more than the interrupt. Anyways, I think that just put them over the edge when they can not only break roots but also spell reflect, which is the thing they gained this patch, by the way. Like they had to trade off between breaking roots every 30 seconds and spell reflect. They didn't have that last patch. I think the talent would be better if it was like now makes it pummel AoE interrupt instead of here's another interrupt. Like it would probably make a lot more sense. So they just keep one, but that one interrupts everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with it. Davis, yourself is what are your thoughts on the dual interrupt from a warrior?
I think we've gotten to the point where there's too much of like double everything, if you know what I mean. Like rogues had prep and mages had cold snap, and that seemed all well and good, and then all of a sudden hunters had readiness, and then all of a sudden everyone's getting double everything. And I think something that needs to happen is classes shouldn't have like double gap closers, double things they can use to escape, things like that. I think in general people should just have one of everything, because I don't know.
I mean, that's a good thing to look at, I think, for next expansion, because there has been talk through Twitter and different articles and stuff that they're really looking at reducing a lot of the button bloat, as they call it, taking away some abilities and stuff. And I think that's a good place to start. So if anyone from Blizzard's watching, get rid of double everything.
Yeah, I think Novoz actually brought up a good point too. I mean, such a mechanic like that's so hard to. You can't get rid of that in the middle of a season or the middle of a patch, basically. I mean, that's a huge mechanic that you would have to wait.
Well, something like that could
actually
it could almost kill a class for the rest of the season.
Thugonomics brought up a good point in chat, saying that they removed Killjading Stunning, so maybe it's possible. But
that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean.
But that was also between seasons, so. I mean,
oh yeah, of course. There's no way to do it in between, like in between the season. Like there's a lot of things that make them as good as they are. Like you could honestly argue so many of the things they have are overpowered, but in the end, I think everything in the game is overpowered. It's just some classes have too many overpowered things. Like 25% defensive stance passively. That's kind of crazy. Like how could you just permanently have a shamanistic rage up? That's like compared to me, or like having Zerker Rage a 30-second fear break still in the game, that completely fucks up one class. Like on alone, they like on paper they sound overpowered. Altogether, they can feel overpowered if there's too many of them at once. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I mean,
removing
rogues
too many.
have spammable shield wall, for example, with feint. Imagine that on any other class and it would be ridiculously overpowered, but it seems to still be okay for rogues.
Because if rogues didn't have it, they would die straight away.
Yeah, so it's also very hard to judge. So if you say something like double interrupt and you just think it from a mage perspective, it's different. Like it's not that you can't compare it 1-to-1 between each classes.
I think that's actually a better design to go for the game altogether, like more active damage reduction, and that actually has a cost to it, like either energy or rage or whatever in a global. I think that's a much better design than just passive 25 reduction that you don't have to do anything about.
I hate that all the defensive cooldowns went off the global cooldown. I always liked that there's a strategic element that you have to somehow anticipate things, and now you can just damage is coming, click. And before you had to time it at least, and so I really like the rogue system of defenses. I just think too few classes have a similar system where if you spam feint, you sacrifice your damage completely. it's a bit similar to going defensive stance as warrior now. And also, if you choose recuperate, you have to sacrifice other finishes that are really important for you. So it's a very strong trade-off. And I also like the mage design with the different armors that give different trade-offs. You can't have all of them. You lose out damage if you go into molten armor. Or is it even? Do they lose damage if they go for the crit one instead of the mastery one? I'm not sure.
Well, you lose crit, but I mean, I guess it depends on what you want more, master or crit. It's you probably do lose a bit. I don't think crit is valuable, or definitely not as valuable.
I don't think it's what I dislike about this is that the cast for mages is so long to change it. I liked it that it costed a global, but I think now it's something like a 3-second cast unless you cliff it to change your armor. And I don't think it's good to commit a mage to an armor for a whole match because it's actually interesting to change it. I think it's an interesting mechanic to change it. I don't think it should be a long cast, 1 second at max. And just a little thing that really bugs me about mages is that these armors have such a long cast time, because I think the decision overall for the game is really, really interesting to switch between these defenses. What do you think?
I actually think Noxy in chat brings up a good point too that I was just thinking about as you were talking. Like classes that have abilities that break them out of CC and like I have a human DK who between Desecrated Ground, Icebound, Lichborn, and Every Man for Himself. I mean, you're almost unCCable. Like I think and a lot of classes seem to have things like that, or I guess they're kind of slowly going away. But I think that's another thing too that needs to change, is having so many, like, for example, like Icebound Fortitude shouldn't break you out of a stun, but you should be able to use it to anticipate a stun to stop it. You know, like does that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with that. I think that would be a lot cooler if
like if you're anticipating like a redirect kidney, you know, you could Icebound and avoid it, but not get redirect kidneyed and then Icebound out of it.
Yeah. The issue you have with, like, if you use an ability like that though, is like you get a warrior who can, like, just turn on Blazestorm and he can just forget, and no matter what he does, as long as he like holds W, he's dealing damage to someone. If you know what I mean. So
yeah, true, and that's
I think
another.
you have to be careful with abilities that you have to activate to immunify something, because a lot of people just put them on and then pop their cooldowns and be like, well, I'm unCCable for this time. So.
Yeah. That's one thing I really dislike about Icebound Fortitude. I think it is okay as a break, but this whole immunity thing is something I really dislike.
I would agree.
But it was like Avatar was, with you aren't rootable anymore and aren't slowable anymore. I think it works for abilities like Bladestorm that are really short, very concentrated. But something like, how long is Icebound? 12 seconds? Even longer? I'm not sure.
Something like that, yeah. But
it's ridiculously long. So,
oh, you mean the duration of it? Yeah, it's
the duration.
Yeah, it's like
I think if it
12
broke,
seconds.
If it broke stuns and didn't, but if you reapplied a stun or whatever, then it would still land. Then I think that would be okay.
Yeah, of course, the rogues are defending or don't like stun immunities.
I would actually, as somebody who did play DK, I would actually like to see, because I don't like sitting in blood stance for like most of the game as a DK. I think it just feels cheesy, and you know whatever. But I would actually like to see something like that, an ability like that, not just like break stuns, but like make it a shield wall or something. I don't know, 20% just doesn't seem like enough. I mean, that's another thing on top of it. You break stuns, you're immune to stuns, and you take 20% less damage. Like, just, I don't know.
20% is pretty good, man. Shamanist Rage is only 30, and that keeps me alive. I mean,
of course there's.
I mean, there's a lot of little things you can dislike in the game, but they've obviously, like, thought out a lot of, like, the reasoning behind changing things. The thing that I don't like is just the fact that they keep, like, or that they do keep changing things and like keep adding more things. That's the problem that we have. Like defensively, honestly, if I were to look at the game overall, I think defensively, maybe with the exception of Moonkins and maybe Windwalker monks, defensively the entire game is like fine. No one really dies too easily. In fact, most things die. Most things are too hard to kill, I'd say. defensive cooldowns should be way longer cooldowns in general. Otherwise, you can just rotate them forever, and that's why you have tons of stalemates you have already.
Yeah, that's true.
Moving on to one of the next topics, I guess, Friday night face-off. So basically what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to hold, a tournament, an arena tournament, pretty much every Friday night. And we've been looking for teams, and please tell me if you guys think you have a qualifying team, please message us, email us, send a message to Tobias. That would be great. This Friday, we actually have a big one coming up because, first of all, we're giving away Hearthstone Beta. And Tobias, can you tell me the times this Friday it's going to be?
It's the same time the podcast starts. It's 10 p.m.
Right.
European, Central European time. That means 9 p.m. in London, 5 p.m. in New York, and 1 p.m. in Los Angeles.
So it's going to be big. We're going to be giving more details throughout the week on the Hearthstone Beta giveaway. And this Friday, we're going to have Haxon's TSG versus High Quality. Tobias, do you want to go into a little bit of details about what we're going to see on Friday night?
Yes, first of all, we have Haxon's team, and I really have to say Haxon is awesome because he helped us a lot and was week after week. We couldn't do it 2 weeks in a row, and he just was friendly and understood everything, never flamed us. Basically, what we're doing is a combination of show matches and training our tournament team so we can really make awesome tournaments, because we think that many tournaments went live too early without a team that was really trained, and you could see things like the last Arena League season where the English stream was just not on the level, and we would like to be on that level, and so we're inviting good teams to play for show matches. We did one so far with Akasuichi, Byrant, and Seepai that played against Nori, Toboya, and Alicea, and this time we have the TSG from Haxon, which will be with Hurricane and Necrophilia. TSG, for anyone that doesn't know, is Warrior, Death Knight, Holy Paladin. And they will play against a new comp. I actually don't know the name of the comp yet. And that's Nori as Windwalker Monk, Casey as Affliction Warlock, and Alicea as Restoration Shaman. Does anyone know it? Know the name of that comp? Or is it just not named yet? Anyways, they will be playing. We'll be commentating it with 2 commentators. We will have an expert. We have Jason as host for the whole thing, so you won't see naked gnomes running around and stuff. And we are always looking for new teams playing, helping us building this. We don't have prizes yet, but it's only a best of 3 or best of 5, depending on what the teams want to play. And so it's a short thing that helps us, that helps the community, and we really make it awesome. We promote you and put the videos up on YouTube. And so we hope you participate, you watch the tournament, you do tell your friends about it.
Yeah, like kind of we talked about it last week too. It's like, we're at the beginning phases of doing this, but we're really trying to turn it into something huge. So, try to get in on the, beginning part of it, and then we're just going to build as we go. But every week we're improving. We're putting a lot of work into it. So I'm pretty excited. Danny, do you have anything else to say? Before any wrap ups? Tobias, go ahead, real quick.
I wanted to ask Phagonomics, who's on the chat. He's the Warlock on Novoz team. How I heard he was still playing Destro Warlock, and I have no idea how you play Destro Warlock with Octil Jaden's Cunning. Maybe Novoz can give us something. I think, just from my point of view, it's being incredibly hard to get it done, to land these Chaos Balls with Octil Jaden's Cunning.
It's significantly harder than it was before. I can guarantee that.
Doesn't that kind of kill your comp off, even that fact? Because everyone that knows it, how do you get it off a 3 second?
Teamwork, I guess.
Okay.
We have to help him set it up. It's not just... Before he could kind of do them on his own a lot, but it just puts more emphasis on our, CC and stuff like that. They did buff damage. Or you could put it that way.
Oh, Thug. Thug, actually, while you're here with us, and Novoz too, I wanted to say thank you for coming on the show today. And I'm hoping maybe all of you Thugonomics, and Danny Carey can maybe come on the show before BlizzCon if you have some time, maybe do a real quick. So maybe next month or so, maybe you guys could come in on a Sunday, all three of you, and maybe we can talk about your preparations for BlizzCon if you would like. That would be awesome. So
Yeah, probably. I'll have to see what they think, but
They don't want to give away too much, you know.
No, I know. But yeah, if you guys have time, but yeah, Thugonomics is always a treat here. I liked his response. It's similar to trying to roll a blunt out of a brick. That's excellent.
I don't know anything about anything like that.
That's an excellent comparison.
We should have them once they won the BlizzCon, so in 1 month, I think. No, it's a bit more than 1 month. We'll have the BlizzCon winning show. Sorry, guys, we can't take the prizes. Have to give interview to PvP Live. You are there, Jason and Danny. You have to jump the stage and put your microphones there and say first words for us.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping, honestly, in all reality, too, like I said, we're about 90% sure that me and Danny will be attending BlizzCon, and we are going to have some really exciting stuff. We're going to be live tweeting, we're going to be live blogging, we're going to be doing videos, we're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff for you guys. So definitely look forward to that. Danny, on closing, I'm going to go to you. Shout-outs, anything you want to say before we go today?
Yeah, I just want to say that if anybody here knows anyone from like Bugatti or Cristal Champagne,
Boom.
like
Yeah.
we really want to hook this team up. Like we want them to pull up in like
Yeah.
a fleet of Bugattis, you know,
Yeah.
t-shirt cannons.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
not
me
Porsches,
and
but-
Danny and Novoz, we want to roll up to BlizzCon in brand new Bugatti Veyrons. If anyone can pull that off, please, send us a tweet, send us an email. I'm sure we can hook you up with, I don't know, a PvP Live t-shirt in trade.
PvP Live headbands worn and signed by LeBron.
There you go. Yeah, that'll work.
But no shout outs today. Thanks to Novoz for coming in.
Yeah.
It was a fun show. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it went really well. Davis, going to you. I'm sure you have a 50 million shout-outs to give right now because you have your whole fan club in our chat.
No, I like to only reward them for being well behaved.
There you
So
That's a good way to do it.
But I'm gonna give a shout out to Noxy and Napalm because they did something relevant to my interest this week. So they're the blood DKs, so everyone can go spam them with hate if you want or whatever. But they're both wonderful people. They just like to put people through misery for trying to get their tooth cap or whatever. But so yeah. But apart from that, no, I'm good. That was fun. Thanks to Novoz for coming on again.
Yeah. Thanks
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, Davis. Tobias, going over to you. Any shout-outs, last words for today?
Shout out to Alan to Hoddit, who is in the US at Swift Displays right now and who will join in our next podcast. Of course, to all the participants for the next Friday Night Face-Off from my guild and from Haxon's team. Thanks for doing this, guys. And yeah, also my mom, as usually.
What a sweet boy, Tobias. Ending Novoz, again, thank you for coming on the show. And maybe all you guys, Thug and Danny Carey, can come on at some point here in the next month. Nov, do you have any shout-outs, last words?
I guess just shout out to my team. I think my cam is frozen.
Your cam is froze. We can still hear
We
you.
made
though.
it the whole show.
Yeah, it
Oh,
just
yeah, I know.
right at the very end. You have a good, distinct look, though. You look really professional and
Thoughtful.
smart. Thoughtful, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. No one in particular. We'll be on again if I think of someone by then. But yeah, shout out to Thugonomics 420. That's about all I got.
All right, yeah, I'll shout out for Thug real quick here. Shout out to my boy Larry King. Larry King, keep it real 420, and that's pretty much we all have for the show today.
Isn't that who you're
and-
modeling? Isn't that who you're modeling this hosting career off of?
Larry
I
King?
think that's-
Oh, is that me? Hey,
Yeah.
All right, Thug, thank you. I'm just gonna take that as a compliment. Boom. I was looking for more like a Conan O'Brien thing, but whatever. So everyone, just one last note. Please go to pvp-live.com. Bookmark that site. Follow us on Twitch right below that you're watching the screen right now. Follow us on Twitter. Follow all of us on Twitter right below us here. And until next time, thank you. Oh, real quick, too. Next Friday Night Face-Off, 4 p.m. Eastern, New York time. It is going to be
Hearthstone giveaway.
Hearthstone Beta giveaway. So be ready for that. I think we're all pumped for that. So thank you again, and until next time, we're out.